If you're looking to build a gaming PC in 2021, your search is over, because I'm about to put together what I think is the perfect combo right now. Now, I've been following the market very closely lately, and believe it or not, things are actually getting better. When Ryzen 5000 came out, you could not get a hold of any of the processors between the Ryzen 5 all the way up to the Ryzen 9s. And now they're actually coming in stock at MSRP, and some even better than MSRP. All right, let me talk about some of these parts here so I can outline what I'm trying to build. The first and most important thing that we're using is the processor. This is the Ryzen 5 5600X. It's 6 cores and 12 threads and boosts all the way up to 4.6 gigahertz. Now, Ryzen 5000 is the best CPU for gaming right now, in my opinion. And you can get these for $299 for the CPU. And like I said, it's on sale right now on Newegg, so if you swing over there or click the link below, you can get that for a discounted price. For the motherboard, I was going to use the Gigabyte B450i Aorus Pro Wi-Fi motherboard, but it turns out that Gigabyte's website had a BIOS update so that I could use Ryzen 5000 with a B450 board, and I can't download the BIOS update. I don't know why, it just will not download. It fails every single time, so sorry Gigabyte, I'm gonna pass on you this time. Instead, I decided to use the MSI B550i Gaming Edge Max Wi-Fi motherboard. It's kind of a blessing in disguise really, because the B550 motherboards or the X570 motherboards allow you to take advantage of the Ryzen 5000 suite of features, like PCI 4.0 connectivity for your graphics and your NVMe drives, which this motherboard can take advantage of both of them, and I'm using both in today's build. Another thing that the motherboard has that I really like is the built-in I/O shield. I'm so glad that's become mainstream now. Thank you so much, MSI. And really, X570 in an ITX board didn't really make any sense for me, because all the extra features that you get with X570 really aren't present on this small of a motherboard. For memory, I'm using two 8 gig sticks of G.skill Trident Z RAM at 3200 megahertz. Now I am setting the XMP profiles for this. And the all-important graphics card is the EVGA RTX 3060 XC Gaming. This comes in at $399.99. And yes, you can get these. I got this from the Newegg Shuffle. I won, I guess you could say, but if you get in the EVGA Q system, you can get it from there as well. These things are coming in stock every day, so it's not that they're unavailable anymore. There's just so much demand that everybody wants to get them. And this is honestly a great price for 1080p max settings or 1440p entry-level settings for gaming. And going with an NVIDIA card over AMD gives you real-time ray tracing and DLSS, which NVIDIA has taken their time refining over the years. Now, the RTX 3060 XC Black, which looks just like this card, but it's just their black edition, is $329.99, so it's even better of a price than what I paid for mine. For storage, I'm using the Samsung 980 Pro PCIe 4.0. It's a 1 terabyte drive. This NVMe drive is kind of overkill. Honestly, you can get PCI 4.0 drives that are a better price than what I paid for this Samsung drive. It's just something I had on hand and I wanted to use PCI 4.0. For power, I'm using the Corsair CX650M. This is a semi-modular power supply, and I'm definitely gonna take advantage of it in such a small case. Speaking of the case, I'm using the Phanteks Eclipse P200A D-RGB case. It's a new case, I got it at a great price, and it's my first build in it, so I'm really excited to use it. And also, don't forget to subscribe down below if you want to see an in-depth review on this case. I tend to do a lot of case reviews on this channel, so keep that in mind. Now, the best part about this entire build is that it comes in under $1,300. I think it came in just under. It's $1,298.93 US dollars, of course. Even the pre-built companies like NZXT, CyberPower, iBuyPower, they're all overcharging for their components now. They weren't when this thing first started, and now they're overcharging people. So my recommendation is changing from buy a pre-built to do it yourself. So let's take advantage of that and throw this thing together right now. Now that the PC's all put together, I decided to bring it over here and plug it in so I could play a couple games. Okay, we got our system powered on, we got everything set up. First thing I'm gonna run is Cinebench R23. I wanna run this up and stress the CPU just to see what kind of temperatures it has with this setup. Because you're running the stock AMD Wraith Stealth cooler, remember. You can get this program online. You just type in Cinebench R23. It's on Microsoft Store actually. It'll try to connect you to it and then you can just download it directly from them. All it does is stresses the CPU to 100% load, and then you can see what kind of temperatures you can get if utilizing all of the cores on your CPU. But you can see down here in the corner, my CPU temps are already at 79C. They're gonna be jumping into 80 here in a second. You'll see it'll get all the way up to like 88C. That's why I don't recommend this cooler, because the CPU just really gets warm. Second game I booted up is Control. This is a first-person shooter type of game, but it's a storyline mode. Now these settings are all at Ultra. I guess I could change the presets to medium. Let's change it to medium, see what I get. Oh, I found enemies. There's enemies. Yeah. You can see on here, the FPS is up around 90. This is on medium presets with DLSS on and ray tracing on. I think that's pretty impressive numbers for this little card. This game is one of my personal favorites, Apex Legends. It's a fast first-person shooter and it requires high frame rates. So right now I have all my settings enabled on max here. There is no ray tracing in this game. There is no DLSS or anything. This is just straight raw performance. So an AMD card or an NVIDIA card will excel in this type of a game. Now I'm in the air right now, but you can see I'm at 112, 110 FPS. Once I land, it should go up. Usually it does. It's trying to render the entire image all at once like that. This is the performance you can expect to get out of this card and CPU combo. This computer is my recommendation right now for anyone trying to build a solid gaming PC. And as you saw, the performance is actually really good. I'll leave a link in the description below for a parts list laying out everything I used in this build if you want to go check those things out on your own. This computer also allows you to have room for upgrades in the future, because you can jump that CPU up to a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9 if you wanted to, and the GPU can get bumped up as well. Now, I didn't give you a big power supply to be able to handle a 3080 or 3090, but let's be realistic. Who's getting a hold of those? Speaking of recommendations, I would recommend to upgrade the cooler on this from the Wraith Stealth to something like a liquid cooler or a really good air cooler, just to give you that better performance out of the CPU, because AMD will change its boost algorithms based on the temperature of the CPU. So if you're over 80C, it's gonna dial itself back so that it doesn't go too high. And if you have a liquid cooler or a really good tower cooler, you'll be able to get a little bit more performance out of that CPU. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I think this CPU and GPU combo is the best thing that you can bundle together right now. The 5600X and the 3060 pair really nicely together. You can use this computer for really anything, between gaming and streaming to workspace creation. There's no limit to what this thing can do. In fact, I'm working on a GPU comparison video right now as we speak, and I decided to test the 3060 with the 5600X since I decided to do this build anyways. Well, I used an i9 with the 3060 10900K, and it got the same performance that this 5600 got in gaming. That's right, they achieved the same FPS numbers, an i9 and a Ryzen 5. Enough talk about how awesome the computer is and how good the components are. You should just go out and get these things for yourself and build your own computer, because PC gaming is coming back. And I'll see you next time on Danny's Tech Channel. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back.